When I first started playing Monster Hunter, every hunt felt like progress. I was learning new monsters, figuring out my weapon, and every victory felt like a step forward. But somewhere along the way, that started to change. I still cared that I beat the monster, I just started caring even more about how I beat the monster. The fewer mistakes I made, the more I felt like I was actually improving. And by the end of the hunt, I wasn't thinking about the win anymore. I was replaying everything I'd wished I'd done better. A few days ago, someone left a comment on one of my videos that made me realize something about myself that I hadn't noticed before. They pointed out that I kept talking about my hunts needing to be perfect and warned me not to let chasing perfection become the thing that held me back. And that comment really stuck with me. The more I thought about it, the more I realized they were right. Without even noticing it, I'd changed what success looked like. Instead of measuring my hunts by whether I had beaten the monster, I was measuring them by how close they were to perfect. I convinced myself that I had to play Monster Hunter perfectly. Looking back, I don't think this happened all at once. It happened one hunt at a time. Every monster taught me something new, and every hunt gave me another opportunity to improve. But I also wasn't figuring everything out on my own. You've left thousands of comments sharing tips, explaining mechanics, and pointing out things I never would have noticed otherwise. Because of that, I think I've improved much faster than I would have if I'd been learning everything by myself. But while I was learning all of these things, something else was changing too. The more I learned, the more I expected myself to remember everything. So anytime I forgot something, whether it was a wall bang, sharpening my weapon, or bringing the right items, I didn't think, I'll remember that next time. I thought, come on man, you already know this. The more progress I made, the more pressure I put on myself to prove that I was still improving. Not because anyone else was expecting me to play perfectly, but because I had quietly started expecting it from myself. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized how easy it is for our expectations to quietly change. Sometimes it's because you've hunted with someone who seems to know exactly what they're doing. Sometimes it's because you watched another hunter make a fight look effortless. And sometimes it's because you know what you were supposed to do, but you forgot anyway. For me, I wasn't really comparing myself to another hunter. I was comparing myself to my own expectations. Every new thing I learned quietly raised the bar for what I expected of myself. So when I forgot something, or I made a mistake I'd made before, I didn't feel like I was still learning. It felt like I was falling behind. The more I thought about that comment, the more one line kept coming back to me. Practice won't make you perfect. Practice will let you progress. At first, I didn't really think there was much of a difference between those two ideas. But there is. Progress and perfection aren't the same thing. A better hunter isn't someone who never makes mistakes. A better hunter is someone who keeps learning from them. And I think that's what I've been getting wrong. I thought becoming a better hunter meant making fewer and fewer mistakes until I eventually had the perfect hunt. But that's not how Monster Hunter works. Every hunt teaches you something. Some lessons stick immediately, others take time before they finally become a habit. And sometimes, even after you've learned them, you still forget. That doesn't mean you're not improving. It just means you're still learning. When I started thinking about it differently, something became really clear to me. I'd been letting one mistake define an entire hunt. And that's what I'd been getting wrong. One mistake doesn't erase everything I'd already learned. I wasn't becoming a better hunter because every hunt had fewer mistakes. I was becoming a better hunter because I understood more than I did before. I'll still make mistakes, I'll still forget things, and I'll still have hunts that aren't very clean. But none of that means I've stopped improving. If I've beat the monster, I beat the monster. That doesn't mean it was a perfect hunt. It just means I succeeded. And that's something I don't think I give myself enough credit for. I don't think I'm going to stop trying to improve. I don't want to. But I also don't think I'm going to judge every hunt by how close it was to perfect anymore. Because when I look at my journey through Monster Hunter so far, the hunts that I remember the most aren't the ones where I played perfectly. They're the ones where I learned something. And I think that's the mindset I want to keep moving forward. Not chasing perfect hunts, just becoming a better hunter than I was yesterday. Maybe that's the lesson I've needed to learn all along. I thought becoming a better hunter meant becoming a more perfect hunter, but learning the game and playing it perfectly aren't the same thing. If you've ever caught yourself chasing perfection in Monster Hunter, I'd love to hear about it. Let me know down in the comments. And if you'd like to keep the conversation going with other hunters, there's a link to my Discord down in the description. And finally, if you've been following my journey from the beginning, thank you. I don't think I'd be where I am without all the advice, encouragement, and support you've given me along the way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you after bedtime.